Hello and welcome to Divine Heavenly Chats with me, your host, Angelina. Now, normally we only broadcast to heaven. However, Brighton Vineyard Church have asked us to broadcast to them as well. So here you are, joining us for our series, Encounters with Jesus. Now today, as you can see, I have with me Paul.
Hello, I'm Paul.
Now Paul, you weren't always called Paul, were you?
No, in fact I used to be called Saul, which is very interesting.
Saul, that's like Paul with an S.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Anyway, so Paul, tell us about your encounter with Jesus. Maybe take us back to before you knew Jesus.
Oh, right back, okay. Well, the thing is, I was a very religious person. I was a Jew, and I followed the law. I upheld the law, and I thought it was really important. And so I was under the religious leaders' teachings. And
Paul, were they called the Pharisees?
Well, yes, I suppose so. Yes, I was under their teaching, and I didn't like Jesus because the religious leaders told us if anyone said you're a god, then that's not allowed.
And Jesus did say that, didn't he, Paul?
He did, yes, and I didn't like Jesus very much at all, because there's no way that you can say that. And so what I used to do, actually, when Jesus died, and all his followers, we thought with the religious leaders that they would all just disappear, that all his followers would just go, but they didn't. In fact, there was more than we could ever think of, really. And so I got, as I said, I didn't like Jesus very much. And so what I did is I tracked his followers down and put them in prison.
You threw them in prison, didn't you, Paul?
Well, yes, I did. As I said, I don't like Jesus very much.
Now, there were some particular followers that once you'd started tracking them down and throwing them in prison, they decided to flee, didn't they? They decided to flee Jerusalem.
Oh, this story, yes.
Yeah.
The followers were afraid of me because I was a pretty nasty guy, to be honest. And they used to run away to all different parts of either the country or to different countries. And there was a group that went to a place called Damascus.
Oh, Damascus. I may have been there.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, in Damascus, that they were there, and we knew that they were there. And so what I tried to do was I took a group of people with me, and I was going to track them down. And we were on this long road, and there's this long road which leads to Damascus.
Now, Paul, on that road,
Yes.
This is the key part of your story, isn't it, really? This is where you met Jesus.
That's true, actually. This is where I did actually encounter Jesus. So we were walking along this road, and suddenly there was this bright light. It was so bright. I can't really describe it.
You could even say it was quite blinding.
I suppose it was, yes. It was a blinding light right in my eyes, and so I closed my eyes and I fell to my knees because I felt this immense presence there.
Now, what happened? What did Jesus say to you?
Well, at first I didn't think it was Jesus. I didn't know what was going on. But then he started talking to me.
And you asked him, didn't you?
I said, "What's your name? Who is this? Who's doing this to me?" And he said, "It's Jesus." I was so scared. I've never been so scared in my life. And I was terrified. As I said, I was on my knees. And Jesus said, "I want you to stop doing this to my people." And then all of a sudden the light went. And I tried to open my eyes. And when I did open my eyes, I couldn't see. I was literally, like you said about that light, I was blinded. I couldn't see.
You actually couldn't see anything. It's not
Yes.
like that. Like normally, when you get a bright light in your eyes, then all you can see is that black dot, like forever.
No, this was proper blinded.
Actually blind.
For 3 days.
3 whole days.
My friends had to take me into Damascus, and I was there in a house, and I didn't eat and I didn't drink for 3 days.
Wow.
But it gets better. I'm sure you'll ask me a question about that.
So you met someone there, didn't you, Paul?
Well, what happened was this man called Ananias appeared at the front door because Jesus had shown himself to him and told him that he had to come and lay hands on me.
Now, Ananias, as we all know here, is a Christian.
Yes, he was one of the followers that actually I was tracking down in Damascus, and he was very frightened that he'd have to come to me, but he did. He prayed for me, and I could see.
Wow.
It was amazing, and from that moment, my life was changed. I knew that Jesus was the Son of God, and I believed in him. I became a Christian. I got baptized, and I got baptized in the Holy Spirit as well. And that was the point that I changed my name.
So then finally you realised that when all the things that Jesus was saying were actually true.
That's exactly right.
So he was the Son of God.
He was, and I knew that my life had to turn around at that point.
And so Paul, that is the moment that you decided you were no longer Saul and you were actually Paul.
That's right. That is that moment, that precise moment right there. And like I said, I changed my life, turned it around and became a Christian and someone who had to tell everybody about Jesus, no matter what the cost.
Wow, so you swapped that S for a P.
I did.
And you became Paul.
I did.
That is such a wonderful story. Now, Paul, not only did you tell everyone about Jesus, you basically helped write most of the Bible, most of the New Testament.
The New Testament.
Not necessarily the Old Testament, but most of the New Testament, which is obviously inspired by God, but it was your writings, Paul. And can you, if there's any part of the Bible that particularly resonates with you, resonates with this particular story, what would you say that is?
Well, there's actually a very special verse in Romans, and it's do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Wow, and that comes in Romans 12, verse 2, doesn't it, Paul?
That's it, yeah. And I just felt...
What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, I felt it was really important for me because I was doing what the world was doing at that time. I was following what people were doing. People didn't like Jesus, and so I didn't like Jesus. That's what I followed. But when I had that radical encounter, I was transformed by the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit was renewing my mind that I wanted to change.
Everything you think. So would you say that you were thinking less like everybody else and maybe more like Jesus?
That's right. I was doing what Jesus wanted me to do rather than what the world wanted me to do.
That is just the most wonderful story, Paul. And thank you, Paul. Thank you for coming today. Now we're going back down to earth.